Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. We're back. To hit us up or get down with us, 804-447-0601. We got our hip hop show. That was a little bit of Eminem. We had a little Rapper's Delight early, a little Eric B and Ron Kim. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. We're going to transition to our socially conscious and entertainment hour. As we do every single week, we start that off with a missing and or exploited child. This week's missing child is Jakesha Nicole Cribbs. Jakesha Nicole Cribbs is an endangered runaway, missing since September 5th, 2012 from Portsmouth, Virginia. She's 17 years of age, black female, stands 5 foot 5 inches, 128 pounds with black hair and brown eyes. She was last seen once again on September 5th, 2012, wearing a white shirt, black tank top, gray jeans, and a turquoise black and white high top shoes. If you have seen Jakesha Nicole Cribbs, please contact the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children at their website, missingkids.com, or contact them by phone at 1-800-THE-LOST, 1-800-843-5678. Please bring home Jakesha Nicole Cribbs and any other child missing and or exploited that we have profiled here on Ain't No Half Steppin' with Marcus J. All right, hip-hop. Want to talk a little bit about it. We got Jay Bondi in the room, who is a hip-hop fan for life. We got Jay Savior in the room, who is a hip-hop artist. He's a rapper. And I wanted to kind of go around the room and kind of focus on the whole state of hip-hop today, in the past, just kind of talk a little bit about it. Hip-hop, where did it come from? Most people don't know. The phrase came from Cowboy, from Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. This was a gentleman who basically coined the term hip-hop because his homie came home from the army, and his homie was kind of, walking in a funny way, and he was clowning him, talking about how they used to talk in cadence, and he was kind of saying, look at you hip-hopping. It was literally that simple. That's where the term hip-hop came from. Cowboy from Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. This was back in 1978. In the early days, of course, hip-hop started out in the park back in the Bronx in New York City. So what I want to do is I'm going to start with Jay Savior here. I want to ask you, we'll come back kind of a little bit more history, but I want to start off by asking you what hip-hop means to you as a young artist.
Hip-hop means to me it's everything. It's my way of expression. It's my way of poetry. Saved me out a lot of times when I've had down times on myself. Basically, it's everything. I don't know if you ever heard the song by Lupe Fiasco, Hip Hop Saved My Life. Basically did.
Hip Hop saved your life. Jay Bondi, you a hip hop fan. I've been knowing you for going on 20 years, and for as long as I've known you, your hip hop knowledge has been superior to pretty much everybody that I know. Whenever I got a question about it, I usually come to you because you kind of like the historian in my crew. So I'm going to start off by asking you the same simple question that I asked Jay Savior. What does hip-hop mean to you?
I just think it's a great form of art. I can't personally say that I've experienced most of the stuff that goes on that they talk about in hip-hop. I just know that I love listening to it. It makes me feel, without sounding corny, it makes me feel good. I mean,
ain't nothing wrong with that, brother.
You can feel corny, man. It's cool.
It makes me feel like
I got $1 million in my pocket.
Yeah, it's just like like I said, I can't say that I've experienced much of anything that goes on in hip hop, but
right.
That they talk about in like the songs. But I just that's what I like.
What's hip hop mean to you, Grizz?
Yo, it takes me back to my first crush. It take me back to, b-ball and trying to break dance on some cardboard boxes. I mean, it's the culture for me, being that, every generation has their music for their generation, such as the hippies probably had, stone, rock and roll or whatever. Right. Coming out of that generation, you had Son of the Soul, the Black Power Soul with James Brown. And then right after that, you hit with the hip-hop. And for our generation, that's what it was. You could not, it attracted you so much as opposed to what you were listening on the radio or a disco or rock or whatever like that. And so once you heard hip-hop, you heard a Grandmaster Flash. It just like a magnet. You just
right.
pulled to it. So that defined my generation for me. So that's what it means to me. It's just
Big Rule, what's it mean to
first
you?
crush.
What it means to me is a place that I knew that could understand me. It could speak the way I felt without me having to speak it. I could go into it and understand things that I couldn't understand. It really just allowed me to either sit there, have a great intellectual thought, or to get down and party, depending on how I felt at the time. It always just became part of me because of what it was.
Carlton Banks.
You know, we had talked earlier. We had to talk earlier about hip hop, and you know, I'm more of an R&B type guy personally. Do I like hip hop? Yeah, but it has to be old school. It can't be new school for me. That's where I really find any type of enjoyment. You know, really old hip hop, nothing new. It really catches my ear or my understanding. So
For me, hip hop is somewhat similar to Jay Savior, and I wouldn't say that it saved my life, but it definitely was my mouthpiece. This was how I expressed myself by listening to it. Based on how I was feeling, I played an artist based on how I was feeling. If I was feeling militant, I was playing Public Enemy. You know, I grew up in Jersey City, and I was the smart, nerdy kid. But if I wanted to feel hard, I was playing NWA. You know what I mean? If I was feeling smoothed out, I was playing Big Daddy Kane. You know what I mean? For me, hip-hop was a vehicle to express pretty much any emotion that you had. And anything that I saw as we was coming up, hip-hop framed it. Whether it be the riots they had outside the movie theaters in 1985 when Crush Groove came out, or was it the LA riots that went on in 92 and how hip-hop saved LA? Because had it not been for cats like Ice-T and Ice Cube and them jokers telling them, stop burning down your neighborhoods, we might not
burned it all down.
We might not have no LA right now. So you know, for me, that's what hip hop is. So I want to kind of go to the next question. When we talked about, you know, Grizzy talked about what his era was. What I want to ask now, and I'm gonna start with Jay Savior on this one. We know that you're a young hip hopper now coming up, but when you look back in history, or if you see now, what do you find as pretty much the golden era? Like, what is the best period of hip hop as far as you're concerned?
The best period to me is most likely, I say 1987 to 1997, actually.
10 years.
10 years. I mean, 87 you had Paid in Full come out. 97 you had Life After Death. Shiny Suits era came afterwards. For those 10 years right there, most of the classic albums came out.
We got a hit on the Facebook page from Lindell Hugh. I'm sorry. The 301. It's a movement. It's a genre. History constantly being made. Poetry over a beat. First fell in love with hip hop.
Wow.
Bondi, the best genre, the best period for you.
Oh, I'm gonna have to agree with that. 87 to 97, absolutely.
I
Especially
look
the early 90s, man. Late 80s, early 90s.
Yes, sir.
Man.
I actually agree with them,
ridiculous.
but here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to shorten it into two different periods.
Right.
And I'm going to say 87 to 89, and then we pick up again around 92 to around 97.
Right.
You know what I mean? 90, 91, you know. But, I mean, let's talk about 87 to 88. 87 to 89. Let's talk about that period for a minute. And I'm just going to throw out some names of people who came out in that period. Eric B. and Rakim.
Yes, sir.
EPMD.
Yes.
Public Enemy. MC Lyte.
Right.
Queen Latifah. LL Cool J. DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. Run DMC. Fat Boys. Biz Markie. Big Daddy Kane. Cool G Rap. BDP.
Wow.
You know, I mean,
Are
I
you leaving anybody out?
You know, obvious. Yeah.
I'm just saying, you just ran down that one. And I'm like, that's about 15 mixtapes right
now.
there.
Quest came out in 90, so they started, you know,
at that tail end.
At the tail end of that.
They was in that 90,
but the point I'm
part.
making is, if we talk, Big Rube, if we talk about 87 to 89, and if you just look at the names that I gave you, some of those people are still relevant now. They may not still be relevant in hip hop, but they still relevant now. You turn on your TV every single week, you're gonna see LL Cool J. You used to see Will Smith, Fresh Prince. You used to see Queen Latifah. You know, you used to see Run DMC. Like, these people had staying power. Salt and Pepper, I didn't even say their name.
Oh, wow.
These people had staying power. So what was it about that era?
Too.
And I know that you didn't actually co-sign that, but I'm gonna start with you, Ruben. What was it about that period that made them last?
I don't know.
Oh,
There. Hold on. There's
we're
some
gonna
people,
let you have your say.
there's some stuff I like, but honestly, my love with hip hop didn't fall into place until the West Coast kicked it into gear.
I
I mean,
respect
I
it.
can't. I'm not gonna sit here and say
Well,
what
I mean,
I'm not.
straight out of Compton came out in 1988.
Well,
Ice-T's Power came out in 1988.
Death Certificate came out.
Death Certificate came out in 92.
yeah, but really, it came out in '88, but it didn't get big until '89, '90, because really, when it first came out, it didn't get a lot of buzz. It didn't get a lot. Straight Outta Compton didn't get a lot. Hold on.
Grab the
Well,
mic.
listen to me.
FBI threats coming.
They didn't get a lot of buzz until they made their first video, and then they banned it. The video was not made till '89. That's when they got their buzz.
They got
the
buzz
record
right
did.
away, dude.
I had
No.
the tape before
Right
the
away.
video
They got-
came
they
out.
got-
I had to take for it
Yeah.
now.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to agree to disagree with you on that one, Bondi.
Oh yeah, they were big before the video
Yeah.
came
They
out.
were the first group that I could remember that did it without radio play.
I didn't even
Yeah.
know what
Yeah.
them brothers looked like, and I was
No,
right.
yeah.
I mean, I used to wear.
I drove my bike 15 miles to go get that tape. Man. Come on, man.
I used to wear a LA Kings hat, a hockey
Yes.
team in Los Angeles.
I mean,
Because Eric Wright did.
But-
Never,
I mean-
never watched hockey a day in my life.
No, still don't.
but the thing about it is, NWA and the Posse came out in '87.
Yeah.
Which a lot of people don't really know
No,
because that really wasn't their mainstream hit. Their mainstream hit was Straight Outta Compton.
It came out in
then
88.
After Police, and that came out in Straight Outta Compton. That came on the later in '88. It did not really get big until '89.
No, we're gonna disagree with you on that.
That's fine.
because
When were the riots?
the riots were in '92. The reason why I disagree with you is because you are right. NW and the Posse came out in '87, but Straight Outta Compton came out in '88, and they had 3 singles on that record before they made a video.
Right.
You had Straight Outta Compton, you had Gangsta Gangsta, and you had Boys in the Hood, which was on NW and the Posse a
Yes,
year
it was.
earlier, but they
They
re-released it.
re-raced.
So they already had a buzz in '88 before that first video came out, and then we haven't even talked about Express Yourself yet.
But hold on,
Eight Ball
didn't.
was on,
I want to answer the initial question.
Eight Ball was on the Posse, yeah.
Oh, it was
How-
on,
but it was also on
Eazy-E's.
Easy
He's on Easy's album.
But
Yeah.
see, the thing about it, everybody heard about Straight Outta Compton, but they didn't really blow up until after Police came out because
So
that's
mainstream, but
when.
I'm talking about the real hip hop
I
heads.
mean,
We
but
knew
let's
what
see,
was.
But you're
that's-
talking West Coast to East
But
Coast.
see, that's a point. That's another point that I wanted to kind of get into, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to bring Bondi in here because I know that he is well studied in some of the underground stuff. Bondi, what's your opinion on hip hop commercialized? Because Ruben kind of touches on the fact that, and we're going to disagree with him, but his opinion is valid because a lot of people will probably agree with him that they didn't hit till, say, '89 when some of us were on them 2 years earlier. You see what I'm saying? So how you feel about the difference between great rappers and great commercial rappers? Because MC Hammer sold 20 million records in 1990. That was the same year that A Tribe Called Quest came out, their first record, and nobody paid attention to them until a year later
And
when
the DLC.
when Low End Theory, and
DLC
that was in
89.
'89. Yeah,
Yeah, that Hammer's second album, but
Please Hammer Don't Hurt Him.
yeah, it was his first album.
I'm mad y'all know
his
that.
first album for people that are old enough.
Let's get it started.
Let's
Too
get it
Big MC?
started.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
it's a pretty tight
good.
album.
It's
It's a pretty
pretty
tight
good.
album.
It is.
For
I don't have it in
for
my
MC
collection.
for MC Hammer.
Right.
Right.
It's a pretty tight album. If Tribe Called Quest
I would
released
say-
that album,
I
you
would
say,
s-
"Oh, this is garbage."
But as far as the underground, the difference, like kind of alluding to Big Rube's point on how it took NWA to get that video to hit. I guess the point I'm trying to get is why is it that you got to get a video, or why is it that sometimes the great rappers, the ones that we like, don't really hit? Like a lot of us revere the God Rakim Allah, right? But how many records does that dude sell? A lot of us, if you know your history, know that probably the greatest rapper to ever live was Grandmaster Caz. Never made a record.
Yep.
Never made a record. But you know what he did do? He wrote Rapper's Delight.
Yeah.
Yep.
He wrote the whole song because his notebook got stolen. Those were his rhymes. The most famous record in hip hop history. We played it earlier.
Yep.
Grandmaster Caz.
Chicken
So
tastes
why
like
do we
wood.
not know Grandmaster Caz? Why isn't the suburban kid bumping Eric B for President, which I played a little while ago as well?
That's not what the record labels want.
Right.
So let's talk
It's-
about it.
It's it's not going to make money.
Right.
It's not going to make money
And it goes
because
back to your
not
earlier
everybody wants to
question.
listen to that.
Your earlier question where you started running down those rappers. LL, you see him on TV, Fresh Prince, Run DMC, stuff like that. First of all, you have to, in the beginning, you had to have skills to get put on. Like, you couldn't get put on just because you saw somebody else rapping and say, you was the third dude in line in the posse and wanted to get on wax. You know, you had to have skills. They were not, and then once you got the skills, you had to. I use BDP for a perfect example. You know, when KRS-One and them came out, I was like, yo, he the best rapper of all time. To me, you know, at that point, he was the best rapper of all time, especially seeing him in concert. And I was like, yo, they not selling like I'll use NWA is selling. It's like at that point you can see where, you know, corporations got their hands into it, and that's not selling. But but if you're a true hip hop head, you know. And I hate to try to like separate on lines of, you know, what makes it you're a true hip hop fan or not, but you know what's real hip hop and what's garbage. You know what I'm saying?
And the biggest thing that happened in '88, I think '88 was the big thing. Yo MTV Raps came on MTV,
All right.
Yeah.
and that blew up hip hop
Right.
in a stance where you talking 10 o'clock on Friday nights, everybody was watching it.
Right.
You know. However, I mean, y'all can say what y'all want, but back in the late '80s, where I lived in Petersburg, it was suburbia.
Right.
I mean, I didn't live in the hood of Petersburg. I lived in suburbia. So it was like, you know, for that, it's just one of those things where I didn't get my East Coast rap. And when I did get it, I didn't really feel it,
Right.
all of it.
Right.
You know, there's some people I like and there's some people I don't. But, you know, with NWA, who basically was just like, wow, they're rebels.
Right.
Well, yes, I want to be a rebel too.
Jay Savior, let me ask you a question. You're an aspiring rapper right now. When you look in hip hop, whether it be today or the past, who, and give me like 3 or 4 names, like who you looking at is these the cats that I look at. Not that I want to model my style because you want to do your own thing, but these the cats that I'm like, word. I almost cussed. I deal with these dudes. I gets down with these cats. Yeah, we hip hop, so I almost slipped into that kind of style of speech. But I gets down with these cats. Like, who are those dudes for you?
For me, Nas is my favorite rapper of all time. We all know he has disputably the best album ever with Illmatic.
Yeah.
I will also say Tupac. Tupac may not have been the best lyricist, but you felt every word he was saying, of course. A lot of people don't know this, but I really dig in Black Thought. The
Okay.
roots really are on point for me.
Right.
And I say maybe another rapper because of his politically conscious, and I'm really starting to get into this stuff now. Cube. Ice Cube really had like a nice solid.
The original Ice Cube.
Yeah,
Now,
4 albums.
Let me ask you this. I don't want to pick too much on you because you're younger than us, but that's a lot of the reason why I wanted you here. So I'm going to make that point. Now, we were talking earlier about the era of 87 to 89. You wasn't quite ready to be
You want
with
to tell me how
us.
old you is?
23. I was born in '89.
You
There
were
you
born
go.
in 89.
There you
Okay.
go.
I didn't want to call you out,
Daddy-
but since you did, now
Daddy
I could
did
use
his
that.
job.
So you was born in 89, which is the tail end of what Bondi and Ruben and myself said was kind of the original golden era of hip hop. Since you're 23 years old now, are you more of a fan of old school hip hop, which would be akin to us maybe kicking it with Marvin Gaye? You know what I mean? Or you more of a fan of what you're listening to on the radio now?
I'm more a fan of specifically old hip hop, specifically '90s hip hop.
Okay.
I believe '90s had like one of the best eras ever anywhere.
So who came out of the 90s aside from Nas? You gave us Nas and Ice Cube, and I'll put it Ice Cube kind of in the 80s. That's where he started. Who else? You gave us Black Thought with the Roots. Was there someone in there that you like, word? Now, because the reason why I'm asking is kind of alluding to what we were talking about a minute ago with the commercialism versus, you may be real good, but you don't hit. What's your thoughts on, the 90s, that period, on who you thought may have hit but didn't?
In that period, I thought it was a lot of people that got overshadowed. I mean, for real, if you really want to look at it, Wu-Tang, every dude in Wu-Tang was nice. Specifically, I think now when I say Inspector Deck, he murks everything.
I
But
agree with you, son. Go ahead, try
Okay,
it if you want to.
Now,
Ruben. Try it if
I
you
think
want
the
to.
problem that you're gonna run into. Now, first of all, I agree with you, but the problem that you're gonna run into is when a lot of their speech is about the nation of gods and earths, and they speak so far over the heads of people and people don't want to pull out their dictionary. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To listen to cats, and they do so many intricate things with the words, Big Road, that they kind of lose a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, definitely Wu-Tang for me was pretty good. I liked what they did. However, I will say this, and I will go on record, and all my friends know, I am by far not a fan of Capadonna. I don't know if he was actually in Wu-Tang.
Never was an official member.
He was the worst rapper.
Capadonna's
Never was an official member.
Look, all right, we're not gonna go on Capadonna a real long time. First of all, Capadonna, he won't in the group. I mean,
he's staying with them.
The short version is
give me your best rapper East Coast wise.
Oh, before you do that, let me just kind of address the Capadonna thing.
Right.
Capadonna replaced, and correct me if I'm wrong, Bondi, I know those your boys. In my opinion, Capadonna replaced Dirty because Dirty wasn't reliable. Would that sound like an
Hey,
ass?
know
He was just
Capadonna.
an in and out dude.
Capadonna suck.
What?
Bondi, I know those your boys. Please
Come
jump
on,
in
hit him
that.
with the
Tell me, Bonnie.
91549
I've never liked Capadonna myself.
Thank you.
I know. I don't like him.
Yes.
either. No, I think he's probably the worst rapper, not just in the
But-
9 of the Wu,
But
but
he
in the
had-
whole
look,
Wu universe.
Out of the whole Woo, but he ain't hard.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, he's hard.
Riz is a horrible rapper.
Rapper.
He's
Yes.
terrible.
He's a
Terrible.
great
But
producer.
Capadonna is worse.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
Because you remember on Enter the 36 Chambers,
Right.
Riz has got 4 verses.
Mhm.
Yeah.
There's a reason for that.
Yeah,
There's a
but you know
reason
what?
for that.
But you know what? Bobby Digital was nice behind the,
The
boys.
B.O.B..
You know, and that's the reason.
Yeah,
Yeah, but that
always
was
great.
whack though. That was whack.
look,
Yeah,
Big
I
Ru,
listen-
first of all,
None of the solo
everything.
albums are
Yeah,
any good.
first of all, that was whack. However, RZA changed the way we listen to hip hop today.
true.
He changed it so you hear the music more so than the words.
'cause he was digging in
and
the
that's what
crates.
he brought to us.
he was digging in the
Right,
crates,
'cause-
but he wasn't the
'cause he
first.
couldn't rap.
He wasn't the first.
Not at all.
He wasn't.
Oh,
the
All right,
God.
I did top two out of Wu Tang.
Man, top 2 days, fam.
Oh, that's
Jizz
easy.
and Ray.
No, I
Yeah,
got to go. I got to
Jizz
go
and Ray,
Ghostface and Ray.
I gotta go.
Ghostface
Jizz
and
and Ray.
I gotta go Ghostface and Jizza. I gotta go Ghostface. Jay Savior.
Jizza and Inspector Deck. Inspector always stole the show.
Big Road.
Inspector Deck and Ray. Inspector Deck killed it when he had to.
How y'all gonna leave out?
How you gonna leave out Ghostface, yo?
You know,
Ghostface rock
Ghost's
and roll?
first 2 albums, Beast.
Beastly.
And then
Beast.
after that, though,
he
listen.
went. He
Let's-
went off.
let's-
He went off the deep end.
let's
after
move
that.
That's
a
because
little
he got
bit.
with Def
After Supreme
Jam.
Class.
He was
Let's-
with Loud with those first 2.